It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. And now here's your host, Geno Jones.
Hey, it's showtime, and I know you can hear me. Yes, my mic is on today. Yeah, I know, don't ask. Sometimes you just don't hit the right button. It is time for the Geno Jones Show. My name, yes, you figured that out, is Geno Jones. And I come to you live Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. in Chicago, 3:30 p.m. out in Los Angeles. So West Coast time, Central time, East Coast time, 6:30. Please subscribe to the Geno Jones Show on the Geno Jones channel. Please subscribe, share, like, and binge watch this and every episode. My guest today is just a brilliant sister, part of the Geno Jones family. She is with Black Voters Matter here in South Carolina. April Richardson, here to maybe have to save me from myself. So, first of all, let me start off for all my Leos, Lions, all my Leo the Lions, roar! So happy because today we have some very interesting birthdays that fell today. First of all, happy birthday to Yo-Yo. Remember the rapper from back in the day? Don't mess with my Yo-Yo. Yo-Yo is 51 today. Meghan Markle. You know what Meghan Markle is? Meghan Markle, the sister that married, what was it, Prince, I think William, the one with red hair. So I think it's William. So April will correct me. So anyway, you know who Meghan Markle is. She is 41 today. Marcus Houston. You remember Marcus Houston doing his R&B thing as a solo artist. So Marcus Houston is 41 today. And my forever president, and I'm sure yours too probably, Barack Hussein Obama. President Obama is 61 today. Now, and on this day in 1941, a legendary comedian, Paul Mooney, bad brother, used to write for Richard Pryor, funny brother, and he made the words MF, mother, blanker, an art form. Him and Bernie Mac, they could like cuss you out and use that word MFer, like, and it was artistic. You're like, wow, I never heard it used that way. So if you ever listen to Paul Mooney, listen, don't play the drinking game with Paul Mooney with the word MF. All right, you would be like totally drunk as a skunk in about, I'd say about 2 minutes, maybe 2 or 3 minutes. So anyway, Paul Mooney was born on this day in 1941, and on this day in 1901, the legendary Louis Armstrong. Louis Armstrong from New Orleans, Louisiana. Yes, Louis Armstrong was legendary, you know, jazz musician, not just jazz, he was just a legendary musician. He was born 1901. Wow, he'd be 121. Yeah. Who knows? One day, pretty soon, people may be living that long. Some people would actually get close to that. So I digress. So today, let me jump off the monologue so I can bring on my guests. So today, Brittney Griner, WNBA superstar, WNBA champion, WNBA Women's National Basketball Association, for those who don't know. So the women had the women's version of the NBA. She's WNBA champion. She's won the league MVP, won a championship in college, 2 Olympic gold medals representing the United States of America, playing on the USA basketball team for women. Legendary. Sister's awesome. She was sentenced to 9 years, 9+ years in a Russian prison. So let me just say this real quick. Why is Brittney Griner? Because today is just not the day. I don't want to, because listen, I don't need the lectures for her. And I'm not going to get into the, well, she should have known and blah, blah, blah. So here's the deal. Here's why Brittney Griner was sentenced to 9+ years in a Russian prison. Now, keep in mind, we're talking about Russia. We're talking about Vladimir Putin, who don't give a damn, who's a liar, So they don't have their justice is flawed as the American justice system is. You don't even have a justice system over in Russia. The justice system is whoever Vladimir Putin wants to put in prison at that moment. That is their justice system. You know, the courts and all that, that's basically theater. That's all it is. So Brittney Griner had been playing professional basketball in Russia for a team out of Moscow, like her second job, for 7 years. 7 years. As a matter of fact, she won a championship. There's a European league, and the team out of Moscow plays in that European league. So she won them at least one, I think, 2 championships, 2 Euro League championships. So she's been in Russia for 7 years. She knows the Russians, the Russian people, and Putin's punk ass. They knew her. They knew her. Now, Brittney Griner was trying to come home in February. She was stopped at the airport. They arrested her. They said that she had these vaping cartridges that had some marijuana residue. Now, she does have a prescription for medical marijuana. But you'll say, well, you know, over in Russia, you know, you got to obey by their laws. And listen, Brittney Griner is not in a jail, a Russian jail, for 9+ years because she supposedly had vaping cartridges. And then miss me, well, she admitted that she had. You have to understand that you don't have any rights. I mean, you have an attorney, but the attorney, having an attorney really don't matter. She might as well just stood up there, and then they put the sister in a cage, 6'8", almost 6'9", and you see this tall black woman in a cage like an animal. And every time that you saw her on camera, they're taking her out of this cage and putting her in this cage. And just that visual and that image, the only reason that Brittney Griner is in a Russian jail right now, the only reason she was sentenced to 9 years in prison, because Putin is such a punk and a punk ass. Shortly after Brittney Griner was arrested, Putin invaded Ukraine. He had already amassed troops, so the world knew, many people, our government knew, as a matter of fact, our government was telling Ukraine and everybody that would listen that Russia was about to invade Ukraine, that they had all kind of intelligence, they had surveillance photos of all these troops and tanks and equipment basically positioned and poised to invade Ukraine. So the American government knew this was going down. The American government had been telling American citizens to, if you can, please get out of Russia as soon as you can. And Brittney Griner was coming home. And they snatched her up to make her a political prisoner. That is why Brittney Griner is in a Russian prison. It had nothing to do with supposedly what she had. All of that was irrelevant, totally irrelevant. So today I'm not going to do, and I just don't want to hear well, you know, she's in Russia, you got to obey their laws. They don't have any damn laws. Their laws is whatever Putin decides he wants to say and do. Whatever the law is at that moment, based on how he is feeling, how his ass is feeling, that's what the law is, especially when it comes to Americans. Because there's been tension between America and Russia since Orange Hitler, Putin's puppet. I'm trying not just to really snap and just try to clean it up somewhat with my guest coming on. So Putin's puppet, Orange Hitler, is no longer president. And Putin is sad. He doesn't like that. Because Putin, basically, there's something called autocracy. And autocracy is just basically a one-man government. One man just makes the rules. You know, you'll hear this term, an autocrat. It just means a dictator. So he would prefer to have this form of government, of rule, one-man rule, all over the world. He doesn't like democracies. He doesn't believe in democracies. He wants to destroy democracies because Russia's economy is like a fraction of what America's is. And really, I mean, it's a state that's run by basically political corruption, and oil. That's it. The Russian economy is oil and political corruption, the Russian mafia oligarchs. That's it. Bottom line. Don't take my word for it. Just do a few Google searches. So, free Brittney Griner. So Putin wants that. There's a man in jail. He's an arms dealer. He sold weapons to different countries and different terrorist organizations. Victor, I believe, is Booth. But that's really irrelevant. This guy's been in jail for a while. He's serving a 25-year sentence here in America. This is Putin's boy. He really wants him to come home. So there's an offer on the table from our government. Basically, it says we want Brittney to come home, and there's a man named Paul Whelan. Those two for this one Russian prisoner. Now there's some other Americans that I want all the Americans who are being illegally detained in Russia to come home. But we're gonna start with Brittney Griner and Paul Whelan. So send him this arms dealer. Send Victor's ass back over there. You know, he's one of Putin's boys. Send him over there with his boy, but send Brittney Griner and Paul Whelan. Send them home now, today. And the United States government, they've been working at this for some time. So somebody tell this rapper Lil Boosie, somebody let him know, since he decided to come for Vice President Kamala Harris on social media saying, well, you a black woman and that black woman's over in that Russian jail. You need to be doing something. Boosie, bruh, okay? I'm not gonna make this about you because really, you shouldn't even be a part of this conversation. But since I saw this video out in the public and you snap it off on Kamala Harris, talking about what she ain't doing, you know what? We just don't need that, bro. Trust me, we don't. Because you don't know what she's doing. And you don't know what this government is doing. First of all, she is the vice president. She's not the president. And apparently, you don't know what the president is doing because you don't even realize that the State Department has been having conversation with the Russians for some time, since like June or longer. As a matter of fact, there was a prisoner swap, a deal offered to get Brittney Griner home back in June. So did your ass miss that? Apparently you did. So I don't normally do this, you know. I don't like coming for folks, but it's just sometimes you just got to get the record straight. And on today, this day, when we really need to be focused on Brittney Griner, we just don't need this foolishness. You know, your social media, you can say whatever you want to say. I got it, but sometimes some things it just don't need to be in the atmosphere. We don't need that energy out in the universe because your energy is misdirected. It's misplaced anger. And then you want to come for Kamala Harris, then you want to come for a black woman saying that she should be doing more and doing everything to get this black woman out of jail when the administration that she works for, once again, she is the vice president. She's not the president. So she has spoken out in Brittney Griner. She has publicly stated that Brittney Griner needs to be released immediately. But I guess you missed that. I digress. I don't want to waste any more time with that foolishness. 4 current and former Louisville police officers were charged with violating Breonna Taylor's civil rights when they murdered her while she was sleeping in her bed in Louisville, Kentucky, back in March of 2020. So we've been trying to get justice for Breonna Taylor. So hopefully we will free Brittney Griner. And it looks like these are federal charges. So the United States Department of Justice made this announcement today. So that was good news. And not to mention, on Tuesday, the state of Kansas made a statement, voting matters, which is why I'm bringing on my next guest. So for all the brothers and sisters say, well, you know, Joe Biden ain't did this, and we ain't get everything that we wanted. We didn't get everything we wanted with Barack Obama, so why should I vote? That's why. What happened Tuesday when they voted to make sure that women would maintain the right to terminate a pregnancy. Women would have the availability, and they would have the ability, and legally would be allowed to have an abortion if they want to do that, because it's their choice. It's not the government's choice, and that their bodies don't belong to the state. Their bodies and their decisions and their freedoms belong to them. My guest, ladies and gentlemen, returning to the Geno Jones Show. She is with the South Carolina Black Voters Matter organization. Brilliant sister, I bring to you on camera. There she is, April Richardson. Thank you, April, for being patient. I apologize. You kind of, we kind of had a little conversation before the show, so you kind of knew I was on a war path, and then I kind of got sidetracked with this whole little Boosie thing. I know, but it happened. It just disturbed my soul. It's like, come on, bruh, you coming for the sister? You have done your homework, but I digress. So Tuesday was a big day, so I just want you to feel free, comment on any and everything we talked about. If I left something out, if I need to be corrected, you can fact check me. But once again, we got about 90, I think today, with 97 days until Election Day.
Mm-hmm.
So, and once again, for all those who will say, well, we didn't get everything that we wanted. Like I said, for everybody that says, well, I'm not going to vote since we haven't gotten everything that we want, you better vote. Your ass better vote, because if you don't, you better worry about losing what you got instead of worrying about what you don't have, what you haven't gotten. You're going to lose the rights that you have if you let these other fools get in office. I digress, and I pass you the mic.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you made some excellent points. My small fact check, and you did ask me or mention that I might correct you. So Meghan Markle is married to Prince Harry. He's the redhead.
William, okay, I thank you. I knew it was one of
Look, it's only two. You had a 50-50 shot. Now that we've gotten...
Yeah, but I got the name wrong, but he had the red hair, right?
Yes, so you're correct with the hair.
Yeah,
so now that we've gotten all the important stuff out the way.
Thank you, April.
The critical information that we got to get out to the people. So now that we've done that, the light work, voting. But absolutely, I think Tuesday in Kansas is a really important point to make for people as we talk about what we've seen in the Supreme Court and the potential people that, we talked about this, I think the last time I was on, all of the conversations about the other rights that could potentially be taken. What we're really seeing, and kind of with the overarching justification that we're seeing this Supreme Court use, is that, well, we're going to defer things back to the states, that the federal government shouldn't be who's determining these precedents. So when we talk about, Roe versus Wade, what we're talking about is that federal level protection is gone, and now states are making their own individual decisions. So when we talk about, the importance of voting in Kansas, it's in twofold. It's literal in the sense that they had a referendum, they had something to vote on, a bill to vote on, and made the decision that that's not what they wanted. So that's not happening. That's a vote, an action and having an immediate effect. But for states like South Carolina and many others where we might not see necessarily something that straightforward, but definitely where those bills are being written, please, be attentive. Next week, we will likely see some House committees, ad hoc committees begin to meet to discuss potential bills for our state. Things to keep in mind there is that it's who we have in our state house. A lot of people, and to your example, Geno, are really frustrated with what they've seen at the federal level. We're upset with our president, or we're mad at the vice president. And not that those positions don't hold power, they do. But when we're talking about our day-to-day lives, 9 times out of 10, the people that are really going to impact that directly are going to be from your state level and down. So when we're talking about rulings like this, it's, who we're voting into our state Senate and our state House that are going to determine these things. And on top of that, even
governor, not just to jump in,
yes.
And governor,
go ahead.
Which we have.
Absolutely.
We have a governor's race that's going to be November 8th. All right. So you need to make sure, like April said, get out and vote. I'm sorry. I just wanted to point that out. that
No, that's excellent, and that is definitely a part of it because your governor has veto power similarly, the way that the president does. So absolutely, that's an excellent point. And to add to that, and this works at the state level and at the federal level, it's not just about making sure that the one candidate that you like is voted in. It takes the entire. We need a majority right now. The way that our House is set up here in South Carolina. There is the Republican Party is a supermajority. Now, if that works for your agenda, that's great. If it doesn't, then that's a problem. And so the only way to address that and to keep things equal is we've got to vote, and we have to vote regularly. Midterms are just as important, if not more important, than our 4-year kind of big general elections, because these are often the elections that are setting the precedent for the way that your cities are run, your counties are run, and the way that our state is going to be directed. So you're absolutely right. From governor, our representatives, for our various districts, our senators, these state level positions are really what are going to determine what kind of rights we do and don't have. That even goes back to when we were talking about Medicaid expansion, Medicare expansion. Yes. All of that comes back to who we have sitting in these positions. So it's definitely critical.
So April, let me just jump in again. would you please, for the brothers and sisters in the back of the barbershop and the hair salon watching this right now, maybe they at home watching it on their TV or at work, watching it on their tablet or in the airport. All right. Once again, for you all that's talking about, well, we ain't get everything that we wanted, so I'm not gonna vote. I want you to say what you said once again about voting in midterms, because the turnout for black voters in midterms is, at best, I've seen numbers that said 50% of all the black eligible voters voted in a midterm election. That's a problem. So please don't take my word. Listen, April gonna tell you again, this election is how important is it to vote this November 8th?
It's critical. What I want to add to that is what we have to think about is when we talk about not getting what we want, is that there are political structures that have been playing long games. Again, whatever your affiliation or preference is, the point of Roe versus Wade being overturned was not something that happened overnight. The shifting in towards more conservative bent in our Supreme Court did not happen overnight. This has been a long game. This has been the goal of people that have been working for years. This idea of creating this sense of distrust of the electoral process is all building up towards it's a long game, is my point. So if you are noticing that you're not seeing what you want, not only is it that you need to go out and vote, but we have to start creating plans. This is super critical because what we're doing at this point is setting up what we have to work with going forward. I'm not telling you that voting on November 8th is going to make everything perfect or that you should expect a monumental difference overnight. But what the difference is going to be is how much harder we have to work going forward. If you can get people in office that you feel like at least you can have a conversation with, they might not be your ideal choice, but you at least feel like if you knock on their door, if you make that phone call, they're going to respect you as a constituent. You're already one step further. Then it becomes the conversation about, okay, what do we actually want? And if this person isn't giving it to us, if we don't have candidates we like, then we start pulling candidates from our own communities to run in these local races. But we have to start somewhere. So the idea is, don't go into this thinking that it's going to fix everything. Don't go into this thinking that you're going to be satisfied. I don't even have a problem with you being dissatisfied, but we have to make that known. That's the difference. That's where the vote is a tool in making that known. And then we have to come together as communities, have these conversations, and really set our own agendas. But if we choose to not come out and things get worse, then we're now having to start from further behind the line. So this is, at this point, what we're trying to do is maintain and stop the bleeding. And then from there, we can begin to assess the problem. So every election is critical because it's the difference between what we're going to have to deal with and fight against going forward. We know this isn't easy, but we don't want to make it harder on ourselves either.
So what you need to start talking about in the barbershop is what you haven't gotten, but worry about losing the rights you have. As a matter of fact, I don't need to tell the women this. The sisters get it. And now the white women who have been voting against their own reproductive rights interests, now they get it. Like I said, the suburban white mom, they know how black women feel. Because This country, society has come for black women and black people for 402 years. So now the white suburban mom knows how the sisters feel and be like, oh, snap, girl, dang, I didn't know it was like this. And black women's like, girl, you don't know the half of it.
You late.
Right, you very late to this party. Sit down, I got a glass of wine. Let me tell you how this thing really goes down. If you think what it, to paraphrase Harold Melvin and the Blue Note song with Teddy Pendergrass, one Theodore Pendergrass on the lead vocals, said, if you think you lonely now, just wait until tonight. You ain't seen nothing yet politically. So I will let you finish that point. If there's anything else that we covered today you want to give some perspective on, I would just, this whole story with Brittney Griner really upsets me, and I really do hope that because we're dealing with Putin, so that's all I need to say. Unpredictable.
Yeah.
Still got
international politics is it's very different.
Global geo. Yes, it's.
But I think that that's one of those things where I would say at the federal level in our vote that we have the Attorney General that we have at the Department of Justice, we have the National Security Department that we have because of the president that we have. He, the AG is appointed. That's an appointment that the president makes. So the fact that this is on his radar and it's considered important is because we kept making noise. It's because it's a conversation that Biden knows his constituents are having. So if people feel like, it's not moving fast enough, the point is that it's moving in large part because we are having these conversations, because we're not satisfied. Things don't move quickly here locally. There's no reason to assume that it's going to move faster internationally. Like you said, particularly dealing with someone like Putin, who really has no concern about being politically correct at all. But to give yourself the credit that you put somebody in office who is going to feel the sting when we're not satisfied, when we're not happy. Particularly, we're talking to South Carolina audiences, because remember, in the primaries, it was winning South Carolina that kept this man in this race long enough to win the presidency. Yes. So absolutely, again, there's nothing wrong with being dissatisfied. We have to continue to make that known, but also realize that we have put people in place who are going to feel that burden and that sting when we aren't satisfied, because he does need us to show up again, in 2024. So that's a really important piece of that. And I mean, even when we briefly kind of touched on the news about Breonna Taylor and justice for her, we see this oftentimes in these activist spaces as well, is that it requires us to come out in force, that this is a long game that involves not just voting, but also making our voices heard in other ways. And so we need everybody to show up, to be consistent in showing up. And we have to build, coalitions and groups of people that are really prepared to do that. That's a part of what, BVM doesn't, what this, the platform that you've provided allows us to do, is to make sure this information is out there and that we're having these conversations, like you said, in barbershops, in our homes. This isn't just about political discourse. And if you're into the political process, this is about our lives. And so these conversations should be happening where we are living our lives.
So before I let you go, April, since we're talking about the brothers and sisters that's in the barbershop and the hair salons, or maybe, watching it work, taking a break, or maybe you're not maybe you're just bored, you're on your tablet or smartphone watching the show. Is there any specific plea that you want to make? Is I'd say, I like to put things, I call it like street level, because sometimes, we put stuff away, and you do a great job of keeping everything right there at the street level. So is there any message? Is there any request in terms of coming out, those that would like to volunteer, people, what they can do in their own community to make sure that we turn out in the numbers that we need to turn out? We need to turn out like Barack is running for president. Today's his birthday. Right. If the Constitution would let him run for president, we need to act like he is running. We need to act like our mama is running for president, because we are voting to protect our moms, our daughters, our sons, our fathers, sisters, and brothers. So if there's any specific request or message that you would like to make, folks that want to be a part of Black Voters Matter, or just what they can do in their own household, on their block, in their neighborhood, their sorority, fraternity, you've got the floor.
Absolutely. So if you want to learn more about Black Voters Matter and getting involved with us specifically, visit our website. That's blackvotersmatterfund.org. Black Voters with an S, matterfund.org. You can sign up to volunteer. You can get tools and great information for not only our national work, but what we're doing specifically here in South Carolina. And for those that are just trying to figure out, where to plug in, make sure that you're registered to vote. So first and foremost, scvotes.gov. Make sure that you're registered. Make sure your friends are registered to vote. Also, if you've got, older family members or people that for whatever reason are typically, voted absentee in the past or by mail, the laws have changed. So please make sure that you're reading up on that information. You can find that on that website as well, scvotes.gov, and make sure that they have a plan to vote, that you have a plan to vote, that you understand our early voting process. And again, if you have any questions, you can definitely reach out to your local board of elections. But in your communities, again, start having these conversations. If you've got local people that are running for school board and things like that, invite them, have your own town hall, use your grandmama's church, the fellowship hall, a community center, and ask them the questions that you're concerned about, whether it's school board, whether it's city council. Those races are critical. And if there are things that are bothering you about where you live, ask them about it. Pull those meetings together and ask them, because at the end of the day, they want your vote, so they need to show up and answer your questions.
And speaking of voting, I need you all, I'm sure April would co-sign, we need you all to be poll workers and poll watchers. Because we got some other folks that's got some shady intentions, some nefarious intentions just on this poll watching and poll watchers and poll workers. So you can contact, I guess, the county you live in, and they'll tell you what you need to do to be a poll. But I'm dead serious about this, guys. Definitely
Absolutely.
need poll watchers. There's been some intimidation, but I think I heard the Justice Department, they have some plans to make sure that if there's anybody trying to intimidate poll workers, they're going to handle that situation. So
you can visit either your county board of elections, or scvotes.gov also has the applications if you want to be a poll worker. Legal Defense Fund actually runs an excellent election protection training if you want to be a watcher, and so that'll be rolling out pretty soon, so be on the lookout for that. You can check their website out, and again, click South Carolina specifically, but absolutely we need people on the ground to make sure that this process works for everyone.
April Richardson, Black Voters Matter here in South Carolina. Told you the sister's bad. Thank you. So listen, when they roll out the legal defense fund, when they roll out, I guess, the training, when they're looking for people to train to be poll watchers, make sure you come back, because that's really,
absolutely.
I don't think people understand how important that is, because there's going to be some attempts to intimidate people that look like me and you from voting. But all that's part, like April said, all that is part of a grand scheme, a grand plan that's been 50 plus years, really longer than that, in the making. All right, this is an old playbook, so damn old the pages is crumbling. But if we don't take care of our business, the playbook could still work. April Richardson, thank you. We'll see you soon.
Thank you. See you soon.
All right, she does a great job. Thank you for letting me be a part of your life. As always, God bless each and every one of you. God, most of all, thank you for letting me do the Geno Show, the Geno Jones Show. I come to you live Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Shout out to one Markell Bailey, the official barber and hairstylist for the Geno Jones Show. You can check him out on Instagram. Kel be cutting up, because Kel be cutting up. KELBECUTTINUP. Allie Jones, the wardrobe consultant, stylist, the drip director. Drip is fashion for those, if you don't know. You can check out Allie Jones on Instagram. It's L as in Lexi, LX is in extra, .NCL underscore, is that little dash at the bottom. So it's LX.NCL underscore for Alexandria Jones. And then you can also, Lexi Nicole Designs, Lexi with two X's, LEXXIE .Nicole underscores dash at the bottom designs, because she's a supermodel, not just a model. She is a supermodel also. I want to thank everybody for watching me live right now. Shout out to my number one fan, my mom. Thank you, Mother. I love you. I'll talk with you soon. Mary Dixon right there, and Groove Master Dre, my man. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Go on and grab some of this. Go put some of this show up on TikTok. Put my little message to Lil Boosie. Put that up on TikTok and Instagram, and Snapchat that for me, Dre, because I know you got them skills on them social medias. Hook a brother up. Anybody else, if you want to grab some of the show and create a viral moment on Snapchat, on TikTok, on Instagram, on Twitter, Facebook, you got it right here. You got my permission. All right, we'll see the next live edition of the Geno Jones Show is going to be tomorrow. Tomorrow, wow, can you believe the weekend Yes, I'm loving it. Friday, like yay. The calendar says Friday. We don't use that word. We don't call it Friday. We call it Friday. 6:30. I love you. I really do. In the meantime, on my way out the door, off the show. Also, Teddy, you heard Teddy was just saying hello, and he was agreeing. You heard my dog, Teddy, the little schnauzer. And me and Teddy want to leave you with this. As always, be blessed and pray for peace. Thanks for watching. We'll see you live Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Subscribe, share, like, binge watch, copy, and paste the link. Share with everybody.
Subscribe and tune in to the next episode of The Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube.